Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kiara if you're new here, and today we are going to be talking about everything you need to know if you are a new plant parent. I actually had a request to make this video and to give tips on how to take care of your plants if you are newly into plants and you're trying to figure things out. So I actually made a list of some things that I thought were very important to know as a new plant parent. But first, before we get into the video, I just want to add that my neighbors that live above me are very loud. So if you hear like creaking or talking, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and also follow my Instagram, which will be on the screen along with my plant Instagram. So let's just get right into the video. So the first tip that I have is underwatering is so much better than overwatering. I mean, both of them are bad for your plant, or not necessarily bad, but neither of them are good. But it is so much better to underwater, because when you overwater, you put too much water in the root, which could cause your plant to get root rot, which then means you have to like cut up your plant and propagate it, and that's just so much work. So honestly, if you neglect your plant a little more and then just water it, you have a better chance of keeping your plant alive than overwatering it. Another tip that I have is to get a moisture meter. So this is my moisture meter. It looks like this. I got this off of Amazon. I want to say it was like $10 or $12, but basically all you do is you stick this part, probably about like that much, depending on how big your plant is, but probably about that much into your plant, and it will tell you how dry your plant is, how moist your plant is, and if it needs to be watered or not. So basically, if your plant is between 1 to 3 on the dry, then you can water it. But if it's between like 6 to 10, then I wouldn't recommend watering it. I know some plants like to be moist, but it's always best to have your plant dry out majority of the way before you water it. Now, I know a lot of people don't really like these. I recommend them to start out with once you're a beginner, but then once you feel like you've gotten a hang of your plants, then you really don't need this that much. I really don't ever use this. I use it sometimes on like my bigger plants, but for the most part. Another tip is to know the type of plant that you have. Make sure that you know like the kind of light that it likes, if it likes direct light, indirect light, if it likes high humidity or low humidity, and also the watering schedule. So some plants can go weeks without being watered, and some plants will be dramatic and die after like a week without water. So just make sure that you research your plant and you know everything that your plant needs to survive. Next, I really recommend getting a good draining soil. It is really important that your soil is not muddy and that water can easily go through your plant and come out the bottom of your pot. So I really recommend getting perlite. So usually when people are starting off with plants, they tend to get Miracle-Gro soil, which I know there's some controversy with it, but do as you please. But if you do get Miracle-Gro, I do highly recommend getting some perlite to mix into Miracle-Gro. There is a good amount of perlite in it, but I just feel like sometimes you need more so that your plant can actually drain the water out and not get muddy and then cause root rot. So that's what I recommend. I also recommend the what is it called, like Good Frog, something like that. I'll put the picture on the screen. That is the soil that I use. One day I do plan on getting all the ingredients and making my own soil mixture, but for now that is the soil that I enjoy using the most. Another tip that I have is to make sure you have a pot with a hole in it. It is really important that you have drainage in your pot so that your plants don't get root rot. So what you can do is, I know some people will keep their plant in the nursery pot. So this is the nursery pot that your plant will come in. Usually people will get this and then just get like a pot that doesn't have a hole. This has a hole, but just pretend it doesn't. So some people will get a pot and they will call it a cover pot. So you have your nursery pot with your plant in it, and usually people will just stick it in there, so then they don't have to repot their plant yet, and then their plant still looks pretty with this pot. So usually that's what you can do. I like to drill holes into all of my pots if they do not have holes already. I can leave down the drill bits that I have down below in the description. I got them off of Amazon. They come with like 15 different sizes or something, and they're really great because you can just get a nice drilled hole into your pot. But this is a great thing to do as well, because my next tip is you don't need to repot your plants right away. So usually when you get a plant, you really want to take it out of this ugly pot and put it into something cuter. But I really recommend keeping your plant in the nursery pot for a while. The only way I say to not keep it in here is if the roots are coming out the bottom like a lot. But for the most part, I will keep it in here for a while, mainly because I'm lazy. But in that case, I will, like I said, just take this and plop it into here, and then I will repot it when I feel like it needs to be repotted. And then another thing with the cover pot is that you could just take this out and water this and then let it drip, and then just put it back in here instead of worrying about like water filling up in the pot. And my next tip is like one of my biggest ones, is to use a watering schedule. I know some people like watering schedules. I know some people just know their plants so they don't need a watering schedule. But at first, a watering schedule really helped me. So I have the Planta app. I will put it on the screen. I love it. You can pay for the free or you can pay for the premium version, or they just have a free version that tells you when to water and when you need to update your plant's profile. But basically, it recommends when you should water your plant, but I do not 100% always listen to the app. I will make sure to look at my plant first and be like, okay, my plant looks muddy. I don't think it needs to be watered. Or I'll look at it and be like, okay, I could probably wait another day or two before I water it. But it's just really nice because it gives you a time frame. Even if it's not the exact time when you're going to water your plant, it does give you a time frame on when you should and when you shouldn't. So I really recommend that app for people who are starting out with plants, especially if you have like way too many at first or something and you just kind of get overwhelmed. The app really helps you stay organized so that you don't get too overwhelmed. Another tip that I have is to listen to your plant. So a lot of plants will tell you when they need to be watered. So for example, this is my my satin pothos. So this is what it looks like. I just watered it, but when this plant needs to be watered, the leaves will start to like curl in, so like they'll look like that instead of being flat. So that's how you know that this plant needs to be watered. A lot of plants will start to curl in like that. It's a good indicator, especially if you're not really keeping track of your plants, or you've been really busy. If you just glance over and you see, oh my gosh, my plant is all curled up, I need to water it. And then some other plants, like my Pixie peperomia, as you can see, this little piece is dying. But this one, if you touch the leaves, they will tell you if it needs to be watered. So sometimes the leaves are hard. That means that it's happy, it doesn't need any more water. But if the leaves are like soft, kind of mushy feeling, then it definitely needs to be watered. And then of course, as you can see, some leaves will like start to like droop a little bit. I just watered this today and it perked back up, but I feel like this leaf is just gonna die. But that's fine, because it's normal to lose leaves. It's normal for your plant to turn yellow. It's just, you know, the cycle of the plant. Going along with what I said earlier about not needing to repot your plant right away, another tip is to know the size of your plant. So you don't want to repot your plant and put it in too big of a pot, because then the plant will just grow slower and the roots will have to like spread out within the pot to be able to grow. So usually, because the roots have to spread out, it takes longer for the top of the plant, like what you can see, to grow. So make sure if you're repotting, so another example. So as you can see, this plant is in, what is this, probably 4 or 5 inch pot. If I were to replant this, I would put it in probably a 6 or 7, 8 inch pot. You don't want to go too much bigger. You want to go like 1 or 2 inches, depending on the plant and how fast you know your plant grows. You just really have to know your plant most of the time to know what they like, because sometimes plants like to be root bound, which if you don't know what root bound means, that just means when the roots get like really close together and are basically just bounded together, like kind of like braided, you know. So a lot of plants like to be root bound, some don't. This isn't really a tip, I just felt like it was something newer plant parents should know. But bugs are a thing, and fungus gnats are one of the main bugs that people get with their plants, and they're so annoying. But they are not harmful to your plant at all, they're just really annoying. But I really recommend getting some neem oil, or you could get some sticky traps. So both of these you can get on Amazon or your local nursery, or like I think they sell this at like Lowe's and stuff. But basically neem oil is to get rid of fungicide and, you know, all of those. So basically I like to spray neem oil when I get new plants, when I bring them home. So I will spray them right away, because nurseries and stores tend to have bugs. That's just how life is. But yeah, so this is a great treatment. It does kill the gnats and it does kill their eggs, especially if you spray the soil. But yeah, so bugs are just a normal thing. They're really annoying, but that's just something you will have to deal with. Even the best of best plant parents deal with bugs. One way to prevent gnats and bugs is to underwater, because gnats love moisture. So that is why if you tend to overwater, you have more gnats, because they love the water and they love moisture. And my last tip, which I think is one of the most important for you guys, is that a lot of plants can be saved. So you might think your plant is dying and there's no hope and you just want to throw it away, but a lot of the time your plant can be saved. You will just have to just chop it up and start over. This is one example of a plant that can be saved. This is my Marble Queen pothos. I had to chop up probably about a month ago because it got root rot. So what I did is I just chopped it off. I chopped all of the dead, mushed, rotted roots, and I propagated it. So now, as you can see, it is growing new roots, and this honestly really needs to be potted in something sooner or later. But as you can see, it can be saved. So if you think that your plant is, you know, dead, there's no hope, check to see if there's any parts that look okay and you can chop it up and put it in some water. Yeah, so those are all of my tips for you new plant parents out there, and also anybody else who is a plant parent. You don't even have to be a new one. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment down below any tips that have helped you, or if you have any tips to help us and the rest of the plant parents in the world. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow my social media, which will be on the screen and also listed down below in the description. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.